Greetings to all. This is Shashank Mishra, host from Law and Life. With Subodh Markandeji, ji, who is eminent senior advocate of the Supreme Court of India. In this video, he will discuss can personal cost be imposed on lawyer, especially in pro bono case, be imposed. And the first question on this is, lawyer represent their clients and the acts on their instructions. Can personal cost can be imposed on such lawyers?
Yeah, there is nothing in law preventing the imposition of costs on lawyers, even personal costs. It will all depend on the facts and circumstances of each case. Recently, on 17th May 2022, our Supreme Court itself had imposed personal cost of rupees 50,000 on Advocate Anurag Saxena in writ petition number 199 of 2022, filed by the practicing lawyers of the Supreme Court. Before commencing the arguments, Anurag told the court that he had a good case on merits and would convince the court within 8 minutes flat. The bench forewarned him that his case is covered by several orders of the Supreme Court and he still had a chance to withdraw his petition. Otherwise, the court would impose costs at the rate of rupees 1 lakh for each minute that he argued. So Saxena argued for 8 minutes in spite of court's forewarning. And writ petition number 199 of 2022 was dismissed. But the court took a lenient view and imposed the costs of not 8 lakhs but just 50,000.
Sir, what about the foreign courts?
I think Indian courts have so far been very lenient and tolerant in the matter of costs. Costs in foreign countries take a far more harsh view.
So can,
Rules are very strict and enforcement is even stricter.
so can you tell us about any recent foreign court cases that you know?
So recently I came across a case from the island nation of Singapore. Of course, the laws of Republic of Singapore are rather harsh and enforcement is also very strict. For example, the laws relating to narcotics are particularly harsh. Any trafficking of narcotics is mandatorily punishable only with death sentence.
Can you kindly please tell us the fact of the case?
The accused there was a Malaysian national called Nagendran K. Dharmalingam. He was found guilty of trafficking just 42.72 grams, that is 3 tablespoonfuls of heroin, and was given death sentence in 2010. His appeals against conviction and sentence were also dismissed in 2011. Then his lawyers filed as many as 7 proceedings challenging the death sentence. He was to be hanged on 10th November 2021. Just before his hanging was scheduled, Dharmalingam's mother brought evidence to show that his mental condition had deteriorated during the long pendency of the case, and presently he was mentally disabled. Since no mentally disabled person could be hanged, he must at least be examined by a panel of psychiatrists. Uh, Singapore's celebrated lawyer and human rights activist, Mr. M. Ravid, and his lawyer on record, Violet Netto, filed and conducted the proceedings to consider the additional evidence regarding Dharmalingam's mental condition and then take all these steps, consequential steps, for remission of sentence or whatever. The proceedings were dismissed and Dharmalingam was ultimately hanged on 27th April 2022. But the Attorney General's Chamber of Singapore raised a claim that by attempting to file the last minute additional evidence to prove that the mental condition of Dharmalingam had deteriorated, that he was a mentally disabled person who could not be hanged, and in any event, he was required to be examined by a panel of psychiatrists. The Attorney General's chamber said that lawyers had acted improperly, unreasonably, negligently, and thereby caused additional cost of Singapore dollars 40,000 to the Attorney General's chamber. Mr. Ravi and Ms. Violet Neto pleaded that they were doing a pro bono legal work for the accused and they were no longer in active practice also. But on 25th May 2022, a five-judge bench of the Republic of Singapore's Court of Appeals, headed by Chief Justice Sundaresh Menon, imposed cost of Singapore dollars 20,000, that is equivalent to 11 lakhs 27,200 on the lawyer and human rights activist M. Ravi and his lawyer on record, Violet Netto, for providing free legal aid. The court found that the action of the lawyers was a blatant and egregious abuse of the court process and imposed costs of Singapore dollars, as I said, 20,000 Singapore dollars. Court further directed that 75% of the cost was to be paid by Mr. Ravi and 25% by his lawyer on record, Ms. Violet Netto. Now just see. Earlier also, the same uh, set of lawyers were imposed costs of Singapore dollars 10,000 in a case where they had argued that in awarding death sentence mostly to the Malaysian nationals, there was a gross racial discrimination. So the courts, particularly Singapore courts, are very harsh compared to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And this will solve all the queries regarding the pro bono cases, sir. And we will see you in the next video, sir.
Thank you.